We beat Minnesota. What was the score again? I forget what it is. 37-3. Now, obviously, I think you guys have beaten both Minnesota and Michigan State by a much larger lead.
I don't do transitive property.
Fair.
That's why I thought what was going on Twitter yesterday after both of our games was very odd. Very odd, especially how the first 10 weeks of this season went. And then looking at the last two and seeing how much jubilation is coming from the other side. I don't get it. I'm not really that into transitive property. It was just a lot of JJ sucks. And
Been a lot of that.
I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah.
Who sucks? Fam, 2 weeks ago, this man had the highest odds to win the Heisman. Then he goes 7 for 8 against Penn State, and he sucks. Now, I think we could have a chance against JJ. I'll take that. I think we're going to perform better than what people think against JJ. That's okay. I mean, that's certainly a fan take, but it's reasonable. I think we can do some things schematically to confuse JJ and get him out of rhythm. Another reasonable football take. You don't know shit about football if you think JJ McCarthy sucks. You just don't. It's a normie fan reaction to something that pleased you from your rival in a week that we're not playing you. Because once again, playing Maryland is not playing Ohio State at home. It's just not even close to being the same thing. To expect the same things that you've seen in the Maryland game. We're talking about Ohio State anyways. But to expect the same thing you've seen in the Maryland game against you would be foolish. And I actually pray that that's what y'all expect to see.
I hope not. Well, my whole thing, first of all, is obviously, of course, both teams are going to play up because it's the rivalry.
Yeah, like, what if we get some of them throws Kyle McCord threw last night against Minnesota? Do you think we're going to drop? You think Mike Sanders still is going to drop those 2 picks that got dropped? You think he's going to drop them? How many times do you think he's going to be able to throw behind a wide receiver streaking down the field against us? Like, if our transitive property is so bad and it doesn't match up with Ohio State well, what about your offense? Do you think that you're just going to be able to run into the teeth of our defensive line, which is, I'm going to go ahead and plant the flag, best in the country? At will. Like you've been doing against Minnesota, or you've been doing against, who did y'all beat last week? Michigan State. Y'all believe y'all going to be able to line up, go 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and run the ball all game against Michigan. That's very interesting because I've been hearing y'all cry about y'all offensive line for 10 straight weeks until y'all played Michigan State. And now all of a sudden, y'all going to come into Ann Arbor against the number 1 defense in the country and run the ball at will? Oh, okay. Sure. Sign me up for that. Sign me up.
Obviously, we live in a world that exaggerates everything.
Like a motherfucker. Like this weekend in particular has been an exaggeration weekend for sure.
Sure.
Not just football. I'm talking about life. A lot of things have been. Well, no, there was some legitimate stuff too, but it was like a lot of explosive salaciousness this week for sure. 100%.
I do believe I have cause to be happy now. Obviously, we played Minnesota and Michigan State. So it was always expected to be games where we grow in confidence. Mm-hmm. And I do believe that Kyle McCord has shown to have grown in confidence. I guess my real question for Kyle McCord is whether or not you just play really good against shit defenses, and then when you play good defenses, you kind of show the other side.
Yeah, but he didn't play great against Penn State or Notre Dame either.
That's kind of my point.
You know what I mean? But those aren't shit defenses.
No. Well, he didn't play well against them.
I see what you're saying. I got you. I had to mix it up.
He plays really well against really well against bad defenses. And then,
got you.
Yeah. And so I guess that's my biggest concern, really for the offense going into Michigan. But at the very least, he's gained some confidence playing against Michigan State and Minnesota.
I guess if you've seen something in your own team that gave you more confidence and that's what you're preaching on, I have no problem with that, man. Of course, you're coming into the rivalry game. You should be feeling like that. Mm-hmm. where it gets a little bit screwy to me is like, oh man, yeah, no, everything we thought for the last 10 weeks, throw it out the fucking window, man. We're gonna dominate those guys.
That also kind of makes sense for the simple fact, and it's still an exaggeration, but for the simple fact that y'all finally played the two teams that we've always said.
Yeah, but what was the narrative about that? Oh, what are they gonna do when they get in a rock fight? They haven't had to play a fourth quarter all year. We won the game.
Yeah,
we won the game.
That's true.
Elite special teams, elite defense. We won the game. We got into a rock fight. The one thing that y'all said we wouldn't be able to do. Mm-hmm. Oh, when somebody finally lines up and punches them in the mouth, we did it 2 weeks in a row.
Sure.
Got punched in the mouth, came right back, won the game. So whether it is a dominating fashion or if you get us into a close game, Michigan has not shown that they're going to falter in either one of those situations. Mm-hmm. Again, if you are more confident about your team's prowess in a certain situation, it makes all sense in the world. Mm. I don't really get the oh yeah, no, we're ready now. I mentioned to you last night when we were talking obviously about some of the scoring slumps, and honestly, I mean, we'll talk about it when we get to our game, but we picked up some of that against Maryland. Any concern? Like I know sometimes it feels like Ryan Day's like, all right, we got enough of a lead, let's slow it down, but then like the Ohio State I guess I'm used to would do that at like 40-50 as opposed to 30.
Because the Ohio State that you're used to could put up 40-50.
Okay. Do you feel comfortable sitting at 30 and trying to bleed clock for the rest of the game? Is kind of what I guess where I'm at. Do you feel like you guys are apt enough to play ball control?
It's so funny that you're asking me that. Literally a year of where I would have to sit there and watch us get up to 40-50 and then hope that the defense didn't allow a comeback of some sort.
See, I don't think that's I don't think that's the case this year because the defense is not what is all that concerning. I guess there's still some weak spots there that I feel like can be exploited, and they had a reprieve because they had a nice long break in there between Notre Dame and Penn State where like even though they were playing like dog shit, there just wasn't a defense that could do anything. We watched Maryland give it up. We watched Indiana give it up. We watched Rutgers give it up. All of them. And it was the same thing every time. Fuck, we're in trouble. Marv! Here, take the ball. Run with it. Go. You know what I'm saying? And when it's like that, I tend to lean where y'all were leaning about Michigan. Maybe it's the competition. Then we seen it against Penn State, and they were still able to get themselves out of the hole doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. Wasn't as prolific of a game for Marv, but he was able to get them out of trouble when they needed him to. Mm-hmm. If that is the answer, I don't know. I guess we'll talk.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I do see Sam Still. I do see Will Johnson. They're good. I don't think they have the answer for Marvin Harrison Jr.
Well, but that's the thing, man.
I don't think. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think anybody has the answer for Marvin Harrison Jr.
He may be the best wide receiver in college football now. He wasn't for the first 6-7 weeks. That was Roman Wilson. Anyways,
he wasn't for the first what?
First 6 or 7 weeks. That was Roman Wilson. Anyway, he may be the best wide receiver in college football right now.
Is he? What's up with the injury?
I want to say it's precaution, but it may be a concussion. I have no clue.
Okay. Well, anyway, I guess we'll get to that in Michigan.
But receiver is a hard spot to win a game from if your quarterback is suspect. And also, okay, so let me ask you this. Have you played a better secondary this season, do you think, than what they will face next week? I'd have to say no.
No.
Like top to bottom, corners and safeties, nickel. I don't think so.
No, I'll say no. Marv has played against corners that have been comparable, but not as an
to
entire.
Will Johnson, Kalen King. But I mean, I think we've well realized by this point in the year now that Kalen King is not. He's not an All-American corner.
Sure.
He's not. He may not even be first team all conference this year.
But can Will Johnson do it all by himself?
He doesn't need to. We got scheme. We got scheme on our side. I guess the difference for me, and I won't. Well, we got Michigan coming up. We can finish reviewing your game. We're kind of all over the place. I mean, I don't really have too many defensive concerns. I do think that when Mike Hall is in the game, it gets. He's a very good disruptor, and so when he's jumping the snap, getting into the backfield, disturbing the run, or making good pass rush, he looks really good. When he's not doing those things, he does not eat space very well. Doesn't stay in his spot. He's very easy to double team. He's very easy to move out of the way. And that was kind of the point of my joke I made about him a couple weeks ago. It's like he's still light in the hips.
Sure.
You still small, boy. You're a junior, ain't you? Yeah, it's time to pick that up. Maybe next off season. But that would be a spot that I try. I wouldn't run towards the edges as much in this game for y'all. Just because I feel like that is the strength of your run defense, is bringing down Ransom and Styles, putting them in the box.
Sure.
And having them assist in the
Styles
run games.
Strength more so than actual coverage.
So I would like to be able to get around that and just come right up through the guards if possible, because those are kind of the weaknesses I see. Also, I think Jordan Hancock and Davison Igbinosun can be had. I think they can be had. I think they've been protected a little bit by the scheme. I don't think that Knowles has gone zero nearly as many times as he did last season. I mean, sometimes against the weaker opponents, when he has a lead, he gets a little bit looser with the blitzes. But he has not been in zero nearly as much as he was last year. I think Hancock and Igbinosun can be had.
Hancock, I think, is a little better, but only for the simple fact that sometimes Igbinosun doesn't look for the ball, and he's an easy pass interference.
I was getting ready to say, man, jump balls for Igbinosun is an allergy,
and he's very handsy.
So, I if we get Roman back, anyways, good win by Ohio State. Minnesota.
I mean, there wasn't much to say about it because it was Minnesota and.
They got out to such a big lead in the first quarter. It was just like, all right, well, we're kind of biding our time now here. And PJ Fleck went into don't get blown out too bad mode.
Yeah.
Hot take. I think Kelly Atmanis is going to be pretty good next year.
You think so?
I think all of this playing time that he's gotten against the opponents that he's played. They played Penn State, Michigan, and Ohio State this year. Him playing as a freshman, getting those snaps under his belt on the road. Year? I think so.
I thought he was there last year.
Nah, they had your boy.
Tanner Morgan? Yeah, well, I thought he was the backup.
What? Mm-mm. I mean, he was hurt.
He is a redshirt sophomore.
So he was a redshirt freshman last year, so he really didn't play last year all that much. Okay.
Or he didn't play his actual freshman year.
So not as a freshman, but as a first-time starter, it is still impressive for me.
Yeah.
That he's able to get those snaps. I mean, I guess it's out of necessity. I don't think they have any other options. Sure. But I think he's going to be better than what he was. Both of the running backs will be a year older than Zach Taylor and I can't think of the freshman running back that they got this year. Whatever have you. They've gotten two pretty good running backs over the last 2 years. I expect Minnesota to take a step next year. They took a step back. They lost Ibrahim. They lost some guys along the offensive line. Lost their backup running back. I guess for some reason Rashad Bateman is still on the roster, but he hasn't played much this year. He's been injured a lot. So this was a tough go of it for Minnesota, and even still, they competed in some games that I expected them to get blown out in. So,
sure,
I don't know. Keep your eye out for Fleck. I'm not necessarily done with Sweater Vest just yet. I'd like to beat him a few more times.
Fair enough.
I actually like to beat them when they're good.
Yeah.
Get a replay of that 2015 game.
But then they're going to have to face a Wisconsin team that's going to start getting better.
I mean, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Purdue. I mean, you would hope all of those teams get a little bit better next year.
I would add Iowa to that, but I don't know how much better they get.
Yeah, Michigan State's not going to be any better. They're still talking about signs. So
gross.
2 weeks later, 7 losses in the tank, and you still making cheeky jokes about Michigan, fam. Tell me why your program is in a pile of dog shit, and I will show you. Damn, what is dude's name? I almost called him Arlen Bruce. That's not his name. The interim head coach for Michigan State.
Yeah, I can't remember his name either. Harlan Barnett. That's
his name. Yeah, I show you Harlan Barnett. That's exactly why. Because that is the ilk that they have coaching their players at the moment. And before that, they had Mel Tucker.
Yeah, bro, you did some black coaches?
Jerky madness. I mean, you can be black and still be a bad coach. You focus on the wrong shit, bro. Your team just picked up their 7th loss of the season, which means y'all not going bowling. And you up at that podium talking about, well, yeah, Indiana still signs the right way, the legal way. Well, I guess they... what the fuck does that even... Enjoy your win, bro. Enjoy the 4th win of the season. Enjoy the 4th win of the season.
Yikes.
Damn, I guess. You can't help people like that. You going to get fired at the end of the season and you talking about Michigan. Go ahead. Go ahead, bro. Go off. Go off, King.
Damn, Smarty.
Might as well. You ain't going to be there that much longer. Stupid.